Vader and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Like, give me something good. Give me like a cool scenery for it.
Yeah, because Reva should not have a better fight with Vader than freaking Obi-Wan does.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like no way. You don't end the show with that. You don't. Reva has a better fight than freaking Obi-Wan. No, unacceptable. You better give them a better fight.
It's like they're giving everybody great scenes, but Obi-Wan.
Literally.
And it's this show. It's like, what?
Welcome, Fandom Knots, to the Fandom Knots show, I guess you could say. And then where we've been reviewing Kenobi. Obi-Wan. Is this show called Kenobi or is it Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Obi-Wan Kenobi, but
Right, Kenobi. We're the cool guys. I call it Kenobi for short. But this is gonna be episode 4. 5 review. Damn. You could tell.
It's okay. It was because episode 4 was just nothing.
Nothing. It was a buffer.
No, it was literally nothing. But all right, man.
Is that a Power Ranger? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, episode 5, man. Okay, so what do we think? Huh? First, one word. Everybody says one word going around.
Opening scene. Well, I got excited.
No, one word. That. One word thoughts. Give your thought in one word.
Meh.
Ooh. What about you, Ty?
Better. It was better than what we saw last episode.
Definitely.
And for me, it's like
leaps and bounds better.
Okay, all right, that's fair. For me, it was like, huh? that's kind of what I got for it, bro. Because this, okay, look, they did. It's like this whole show. This episode is representative of this whole show because there were good parts. But every time they do something good, they kind of do something that doesn't really make sense, like, or messes with continuity, or is technically just weird. I don't know, like goofy, weird, like, I don't know what to tell you, like, you know what I mean? Or inconsistent, you know what I mean? So, well, I know when me and Erm were watching the show, we were like, where there was a lot in this episode where we were like, okay, where was that before? Or what the heck, why is this? Why is this like a thing now? Or I don't know. And I've been doing that with this whole show, and for me, it's kind of hard to imagine that they're gonna have such a good last episode for me to overall call this a good show.
Yeah, like, are they gonna come out with something good enough to, put a nice little bow on this and leave off on a good note where we feel satisfied? I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
And I kind of feel that's tough to do with the only one episode left from where we left off. And it's kind of like, And also, this is like, this episode, I want to change mine to instead of meh. Because there was good scenes, but there's also like,
yes,
like what Fando was saying, like questionable scenes, like this doesn't make.
And sometimes they would be back to back, like it would be like a good scene, like, oh, this is awesome, this is cool, and then you're just like, something happens right after.
Series.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
it's like,
what do you do? And overall, the show is just not well planned out, well produced.
Right.
In that sense, it's like, honestly, the technical, like the set pieces are amazing. The special effects, for the most part, there's some weird episodes. For the most part, looks good. The stormtroopers, the costumes, the music at times is good. I just don't think they developed it enough to where it's like a planned thing, or they chose the wrong writer. I don't know. I think for the whole, I could say overall for the show, they chose the wrong writer.
No, honestly, I don't think okay, maybe writing, because in some situations it's like, why choose that? But like, I think the overall story is good. So I think it comes down to like post-production type of things and the way things are put together. Because to me, I definitely felt like he was saying, the music is good. There's good content in there, some good scenes. But sometimes it just feels like the scenes are like sped up here, or like... like they don't give us the effect that it should be. Like, I just feel like, bro, y'all had so much time to make this. It doesn't feel like it was like 4 years spent on this. You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's something that we've been talking about recently with these episodes. Is just the execution. Like, they have really cool scenes, but like, it's just like little weird parts. Like, for instance, you had brought it up. They started it with a flashback scene.
Yeah.
Cool.
which I
But
kind
he
of like.
looks like the oldest teenager I've ever seen.
I
in my
know.
life.
I thought they were gonna put the fucking. I thought they were gonna do the
So-
de-aging thing on him. Like,
Yeah, and I feel like they tried to, but the
Wasn't that
execution wasn't there. Like,
Yeah.
it was cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, cool, whatever. Like, I get to see that, but yeah, it's
I saw
just
wrinkles.
I don't know if you remember, Ty.
I saw wrinkles.
yeah, it's true. I don't know if you remember, Ty. I said this a couple episodes episodes ago, where I was like, oh, I was hoping that they were gonna do like maybe a whole episode dedicated to the past and like maybe
Right.
show a secret mission or something. And when this opened up, I was like, okay, this might be it. This looks cool. It's the old era, the Clone War era, and I was gonna be like,
Yeah.
but it was mostly used as a flashback, and I'm kind of disappointed that's how they used Hayden Christensen. If that's
Yeah.
it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what upsets me about it is like, I understand it was cool to see them fight, right? Like, we haven't seen them fight like that since Revenge of the Sith. Obviously, we saw Vader and Obi-Wan fight in episode 2 or 3, but it to see Hayden and Ewan McGregor on screen together fighting with lightsabers is cool, but it's just giving us more like context and just commentary on what we already know about Anakin. Like,
Right.
he was full of anger and angst, and like, it was just talking about that more. And it's like, we've already established that. Like, we should be moving on from that. Like, if you're going to show something from the past, give us something that we haven't seen or heard, or something more monumental than just like a simple, commentary between the two that we've seen before.
True.
Well, like, my argument, like, I would say, again, and it's just like, I feel like the writing is not what's bad here, like the planning, because the idea I felt like was actually pretty good. I like that the theme was like, okay, let's show this flashback, let's show the training here and what Obi was trying to teach Anakin. And I like that they're like, separating it throughout the episode and showing us reasons why this was your flaw, because he definitely demonstrates that in the episode when whenever he was trying to catch the ship at the end.
I'm calling it now.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they do these flashbacks is there's always a purpose. And I think the next episode, you're going to see a lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan and Vader. And Vader's going to disarm him just like he did in the flashback. And Obi-Wan's going to do these little moves, and he's going to get the lightsaber, and he's going to refuse to kill Vader.
Oh, definitely.
And that's how the show's kind of going to end. It's just Obi-Wan still refusing to kill Vader, leads into A New Hope, and we go from there.
Yeah, it honestly feels like nothing is going to be accomplished in the show, like other than like
Right.
a side adventure that like kind of just honestly the greatest achievement of the show is just to ruin continuity so far. It's like there's cool scenes, there's cool moments, it's nostalgic to revisit a lot of this kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, like what was the I think they missed the whole why of it all, right? When you're and I think or am I kind of like don't agree that it was post-production, because I think the post-production is actually polished okay. I think it's pre-production. I think it's knowing what story to tell with Obi-Wan, because the whole and decision making itself, and that's all made in pre-production. The decision to make the show about Princess Leia was bad. The decision to I don't know, to make Vader himself the villain, even though it is cool to see, it is awesome to have him there.
He was badass in this episode.
Oh, and he was. No, and I'm not saying like his presence isn't good. It's like, but you have to make decisions that is good for the overall story, right? And so I think there could have been a way. The decision making in the show is bad. That's what it is. You don't tell an Obi-Wan story centered around Princess Leia, and then it's just this goofy chase for the 5-6 episodes that are just.
Is it called Obi-Wan Kenobi, or is it called Leia and Friends? Like,
it kind of feels like that's accurate. Like it just feels like there's a lot going on. Technical stuff that I want to move on to the technical things. It's just like, although there's very cool moments, and they kind of went in.
What were some of the cool moments that you liked?
Okay, I guess we can start with cool moments. Cool moments. Honestly, Vader obviously is the crown jewel. Like,
he's the best part of the show,
and that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like the post production and the actual technical direction is not bad. Like when they shoot Vader, it looks great. When they shoot the stormtroopers, it looks great. When they add the music and all that, it sounds and feels good. But it just kind of comes off as hollow sometimes, because the core of it should be, why is Vader's presence important? Why is this all important? And it's like, it's that part of it's not executed well. It's not, and it's not about putting a camera in front of a character. It's not about, like, you know what I'm saying? It's about making good decisions about the story before you go into it. And it should not have been centered around Princess Leia. I honestly, I think it would have been a better show not to go full fan servicey and make Vader the villain of the show. Instead, tell a story for Obi-Wan with someone else as the villain. Even though I do love when Vader's on screen, I'm sorry. It's just that, like, I think it would have served an Obi-Wan story better if Vader was this figure out there somewhere, and then you kept the continuity, and then you made it more, maybe the Grand Inquisitor or whatever it is, like, or maybe him starting, like, maybe Obi being like the stealth inspiration for the Resistance to come. You know what I mean? That might have been a better story to tell, make it more of a James Bond 007, like, I'm a double agent spy. You never, you know what I'm saying, kind of story where he's just doing things from the shadows a lot.
Yeah.
They definitely need to have a better goal for this show. Yeah, like, because I feel like, I just feel like it's a nostalgic overload type of show. Yeah. And it doesn't really, like what he's saying, it doesn't serve a purpose much. Because, you know, there's not much you can do with, like, changing the story too much. Like, you know, he can't defeat Anakin. Like, that defeats the whole purpose of the whole first the trilogy. He can't, like, really is a big thing, like, having him and Leia show like have this whole adventure together, because, you know, they don't really, like, show, like, connection in the fourth episode when they meet. It's just like, oh, Obi, hey. There's not like oh, it's been so long, like, you know, I missed you.
Like, I know all about this. We did this and this.
Right.
Yeah,
they had a traumatic experience together. Like, that's like some, like, y'all should have a better. I didn't see no tears in Leia whenever Obi died.
Yeah,
I didn't see none of that.
Well,
that goes into my point with, like, I really think they should have, you know, stopped focusing on Leia after episode 2, because if we would have saw, you know, Obi-Wan save her from falling, and then, you know, she gets returned to Bail Organa, the Empire still tracking Obi-Wan, cool, we don't have to focus on Leia, it still has that connection in A New Hope with her sending the hologram to him, but we move on. But now it's like creating more and more moments between them.
Exactly. And see, look what we're doing now. Look what we're doing now. We wanted, this is what the problem with the show is. We wanted to say the things we like about the show, and then we immediately, like, we say the thing we like, and then we go into, like, this weird criticism, because and it's not us. It's like, you can't talk about this show without saying, like, okay, that moment is cool and that thing is cool, but it always comes along with this weird thing and behind it, right? Like, why did they do that, or why did they do this, or why did they do this? And it's like, when your whole show has that problem, I don't know, it's just disappointing overall. But you know, more things that I do like I said, Vader's cool. I do like they give badass. Very, very badass, especially when he uses the Force and it shows his strength.
The ship out the sky, completely dominated awesome. Riva in that fight.
Riva too. Riva, like, I know she gets a lot of shit. They focus too much on her too, but I like that they gave her the backstory a little bit.
We called it.
Saw it.
Give it to you, Ty. That was all you.
Yeah, and but again, she comes off kind of weird, because I'm like, what do you do? Like, I'm confused with Riva. I'm genuinely confused. I'm like, are you mad at Vader, or are you serving Vader? Are you a secret double agent person, or are you like, I can't figure her out, bro. Like,
she's definitely like a dark side user, because her revenge fuels her. So it's not so much like, oh, I'm trying to, like, you know, make up for the Jedi. It's just more like, I have this hatred because you did this to the people I care about.
Exactly.
Fuck you, Obi. Fuck you, you know, Vader.
I will say that as easily as I called the fact that, like, oh, she has to be one of the younglings that they showed, I didn't expect her to be wanting to go after Vader.
I didn't either.
Yeah, you don't get that setup.
I didn't get that setup, but I thought it was a nice little twist. As unrealistic as it is, like, you're not going to take down Vader, I thought it was a nice little twist. I will say that.
It does make sense. It does definitely make sense. But you're youngling, and that's who's doing it, you know?
Execution-wise, though, okay, so there's moments that are great. I mean, Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor's carrying the acting. He's great. He's a great actor. He's doing the best he can with what he has. Like, the moment where he's talking to Reva through the door, I think is one of the best moments in the episode, because it's like, I don't know why, but I feel it when he's acting. I don't know. He's talking to her through the door. He understands her. I like that about it, but it's like you have to put it in a context that makes sense, kind of. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm just not getting that a lot with the show. But there's a lot of good moments. The fight between Vader and Reva might have been the best fight in the whole show. I can't believe how like cool that came off. I don't know why that came off so cool to me. But again, there's another consistency problem with how strong is Vader. How come he couldn't catch Obi-Wan with this level of strength in that other episode, or face him with this?
I honestly think that part was like him playing with his food, because like Anakin, Vader is overconfident like person, like like that's the whole thing with the flashback. It's like, hey, your eagerness to win is what's fucking you up here. And is also like like that's one of his flaws. Like he feels he's so powerful, he knows he's the chosen one, and so he thinks certain things are like justifiable through his own. So it's like I kind of feel him like playing with Obi-Wan in that first episode, but this episode he was like, you seen his power, the way he ripped up this ship, pulled it down, playing with Reva. Like, bro, he was such a badass with Reva. Just the dodging.
And I will say, to your point about him playing with his food, like we saw that in the flashback, which I think gives more reasoning to my expectation, where next episode we'll see him toying with Obi-Wan again, because he already toyed with him in episode 3, and Obi-Wan ultimately disarming him, still refusing to kill him, and we go from there. Because he's overconfident. That's how he is.
No, it's cool, man. It's like, I get it. It's hard to tell the Obi-Wan show, and then especially with Disney, they want every property to succeed. So I understand going to the point where you wanted to throw Vader in there because you want everything to succeed because you're scared. It seems like a lot of decisions are made out of fear. But it's just that I don't think it serves the larger story very well.
Yeah.
And I think with more development in the hands of a better writer, or maybe not because directing wise, as far as directing the actors and the scenes themselves, it's fine. It's not, it's not technical stuff that should be planned out better. The spaceship, had a big problem with him blowing up not that the fact that Vader could grab the spaceship, but the way another spaceship suddenly popped up behind it or something, and they didn't know
I was gonna say something about that.
I was like, nah, I love the spaceship scene, because that's actual Vader's power. That's Force Unleashed level.
But I was gonna say Force Unleashed. Yeah.
But the fact that the fact that we didn't even see a ship, I think I barely saw a smaller ship on the side whenever the other ship was in the air.
Yeah.
But the fact that they try to get away with, oh no, this is the real ship. First, who was piloting that first ship? Did y'all just sacrifice a person?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two, bro, where was that ship? That ship was hiding, bro. And you saying Vader couldn't sense where the fucking life force is at? That's the other thing.
It's the thinking it through and make it not plot holes in the overall story, but when you direct something, or when you're trying to tell a story on screen, you have to make sure there's a certain sense of continuity in the scenes themselves, right? And things make sense as they play out in the scenes, and that's what I mean by directing the actors and stuff is fine. The sets are fine. The visual effects for the most part is fine. But it's that kind of obvious failure. That's bad directing in a sense. It's weird for me to have to constantly point moments. Every episode has a problem like this too.
Yeah. And so you had asked if we had one word to describe this episode, and I'll stick with better. This episode was better than we've seen previously.
Then that episode 4 was the worst.
I have three problems with this episode that stood out to me.
Let's hear them.
First one was bringing back the Grand Inquisitor at the moment that they did, as late as they did. I was just kind of I
was confused.
Yeah, I was okay.
What was the point of doing this?
What's the point of him now? So whatever. I understand it's the Reva arc, but I just thought that was weird. Second problem, Fando, I think we brought this up last episode.
What?
They are still in the same spot that they've been in for the past 3 episodes, where they get an encounter with the Empire, they get away, they're getting tracked. They get away from the Empire, they get away, they're getting tracked. Like, they're still in the same spot.
It's every episode too.
There's no progression, bro.
Getting away, getting tracked.
Exactly.
Tracked.
Like,
and it's like, it's cool. We're seeing cool moments, but there's still, like, story plot wise, it's spinning in circles. It's the same thing repeated,
right?
At the core.
It's almost like in pre-production or when you were writing the show, you didn't know what to make the show about, and so it's coming off so obvious. Right, when I see this show, that like you just wanted to. In my opinion, you should never create something because a character's cool. You should create something because there's a point to it. There's meaning behind it, and that's another
story at least.
Yeah, and that's another issue that I had with it. One, and I don't know if you finished your 3 issues. Ty, did you?
No, I still have one.
Yeah, what was the other one? I don't want to cut you off here.
All right, no. So last one, and this may be me being nitpicky, okay, but as a Star Wars fan, I think admittedly that a lot of Star Wars fans choose to ignore some things, and I refuse to ignore this. In the scene that the stormtroopers, all them stormtroopers, are coming in to shoot at Obi-Wan, and he's fending them off, fighting, holding his own, doing his thing. How goddamn useless are stormtroopers? And,
I said the same
and the fact that one Jedi, Obi-Wan, can defend in a tunnel against all them makes Order 66 kind of unbelievable.
It's there's no shot these dudes did that to all the Jedi, right? It's like
wait. There's a difference between stormtroopers and clones.
Clone troopers.
Clones could hit.
Clone troopers were more badass, I guess.
They were hitting their droids, but like these dudes suck,
no,
bro.
but
yeah, dude.
Who's training y'all, bro?
And here's my question. And the thing I was gonna say was my question about the show. And Aaron was just pointing out stuff the whole time too. Like, he was just pointing out constantly, like, just issues. Like, okay, what is that? What is this? That's cool. But what is this? What is it? You know what I mean? But like, where they leave Reva off, right? One, she didn't die. Okay, I don't know if she did. I don't know if they're saying they're gonna kill her off, but it looks like she's not gonna die. And if she finds the message, and I'm really worried, right? I'm genuinely worried that there's gonna be a season 2 of the show, and it's gonna be the same plot but with Luke. Like,
and they can't do that.
Like the same plot in a season 2 maybe, and then like instead of Leia being the and Disney has this weird obsession I noticed, right, with everything that they're putting out recently. Not everything, but a lot of things. It's like this babysitting stuff where like Boba, or what's it called? The Mandalorian has to take care of baby, Guru, whatever his name, Grogu, and then Obi-Wan has to take care of like it's an easy plot device. Trust me, it is. Trust me, but it's just like I'm hoping they don't go in that direction, because when they show Luke, and I'm like, is Reva gonna go after Luke in the final episode? Because this is gonna be a bigger like contradiction to the plot. Like, it's gonna be a bigger contradiction to like Luke be like old man Kenobi that lives, the crazy old man, and if they bring Luke in heavy, I'm sorry, but that's too big of a contradiction.
So here's why I think they bring Luke in, because clearly in Empire Vader tells him, "I am your father." I think this is Reva giving Vader that proof that Luke is his son.
Wait, okay.
He doesn't know about Leia, but if she's like, "Oh, the boy, like, this is your son," like, whatever, that gives the premise for Empire Strikes Back, with him revealing that to Luke, which is probably the biggest.
Wait, so you're saying
in the series, let alone cinematic twist in history. So I think showing Luke and her finding the hologram of Bail Organa talking about Luke.
So you're saying Vader knows he has children the whole time?
No, Vader knows he has Luke. Once Reva, like, because I think Reva's going to show him this hologram, and he's going to find out about Luke. So that's how he's going to know, and that's why in Empire Strikes Back he's able to say, "I am your father."
I always thought that was because of the Force, like he felt the connection, but I don't know. Maybe that's a good way to explain it.
Also, he thinks that Padme died, and I think Lord Sidious told him like, "Yo, your kids died too," because one of that
killed her.
So I think he doesn't find that out until the Empire Strikes
Well,
Back.
it's a contradiction in two ways. I think either he knows the whole time that he has kids, right? And then like Ty was saying, he reveals it to Luke. I am your father. Da da da. Or he doesn't know he has kids. He has the Force. Like, he's near Leia this whole series. He's maybe in the next episode near Luke. Doesn't sense them at all this whole time, and then finds out in the later movie, The Empire Strikes Back, that he has a kid or two. And it's like, it's a contradiction either way you go. And I think the show struggles with that. That's why I kind of think it shouldn't have been the central focus of the plot. Should not have been about the kids, like Leia and Luke, at all. I think they shouldn't have. I think you can see them in the background sometimes here and there. I don't think they should have been the main focus. I think the show should have been about something completely different, and it should have been pushed back a year or two for development. There should have just been a better story to tell with Obi-Wan. I just purely think that's my biggest flaw with the show. It's why does it exist? Because there's a better story you could have told. There's a million better stories you could have told with Obi-Wan, and you tell a story that just puts you in this weird hole. Like, it's just weird hole where you have to like constantly write your way out in the most ridiculous ways. Yeah. And then you also need a year of development because of all the technical stuff we keep pointing out. Like, where was that ship? Why are the fight scenes so goofy? How is Obi-Wan running away so easily? Why is this repetitive Leia chase? The whole series is about that. Like, it should have just been about something else. So to serve the better.
Yeah, and I think for me, I struggle to see how it leaves us in a good note for A New Hope, because if the Empire's like hot on their tail and constantly tracking them, how do they lose track of them? And he just goes back to Tatooine and just chills in the desert where they found him in the first place. Like, that's where I'm like, well, how does it connect and how does it set the scene up for A New Hope? Because right now it's like, I don't believe that the Empire just lost track of them. They've been on their ass the past 3 episodes.
On their ass.
They found him on Tatooine. Like, they know.
Actually, no, they've never found him on Tatooine. Actually,
yeah. Actually, you're right. Yeah. That is a good point.
So, because he actually was hidden, and then they found him on.
Right.
Leia,
Actually,
whenever Leia came out. But
they know Force users are there out the ass. Like, they should have just kept the eye on Tatooine. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they only found one, and he was definitely a stowaway, so maybe they didn't think too much about it, right? Mm-hmm. The only thing that like would ruin this whole thing is if, like, what happens in this next episode. Does Reva, like, what does she do with this intel that she has, right? If she goes after Luke, that will fuck up everything.
That's why I don't think they're gonna kill her. They're gonna give her a redemption arc, either in the last episode or in the new season. Like, they're gonna try to give her a redemption arc, and it's just gonna be. You're writing yourself into a hole. I would have preferred this show be like, maybe like not a prequel, but like a supplement, or like to go along with the Andor show that's about to release, right? Like the rise of the Resistance itself and Obi-Wan's secret role in helping the Resistance, right? And still you could still tell a great story. You could still tell a self-reflective story, but at the same time, Obi-Wan keeps in character, and you could have made it more of like a different kind of show and not contradict as much. And he's still in the fight. You know what I mean? I think that's what I preferably like to see, and it would have been much easier to do, and still have the old man at the end in Tatooine at some way once he successfully has the Resistance at full force, and then. But that's not what we got, so
I don't know. I kind of would have a problem with that, just because. I mean, I feel like other fans would too, because like
not more of a problem than what they have with this, though. You gotta admit, like this.
Right? No. Like, I say, like, if you're gonna do a story that is something that's more interesting, if you're gonna tweak something a little bit, but like again, like Obi-Wan comes into this, and then whenever they get, well, I guess he never did meet up with the rebels. He kind of got off on the first chance they saw Vader. So I don't know, maybe that could be something, because I was
it would have been less. It would have been way more believable than the stuff that they're doing in this show. And you could still have near calls with Vader, close calls. You could have Inquisitor still. You can have a lot of this stuff still. You could still show Vader. You could still, like, hey, who's the secret leader of this Resistance? Who's the, is it Kenobi? Is it, you could have a lot of things. The thing is, I really do love Star Wars, and I think like if it was handled with and I always bring this show as the like pinnacle, but Game of Thrones, if it was handled with the care and interconnectedness and the like just the quality of writing that Game of Thrones was, because it has everything. It's a big galaxy. There's a lot of ways to tell this story and the backstories and the mysteries and I'm like, you guys have way more money than Game of Thrones. Why is this an issue? Why is stuff like this an issue? Like, why is there contradictions at these levels? And I don't know. Maybe I'm complaining too much or trying to compare it to something else, but it just seems like there's a lot wrong. And there's every time they do something well in this show, there's like something else that comes up.
No, I think you're, the issues that you have with this show, I think they're justifiable. Like, I think you make valid points and everything, and I'm trying to take a step back and just enjoy it for what it is. But if I were to give it like a rating so far from what we've seen, I'd give like it's an average show for me. Like
average.
The nostalgia moments, cool. Like I like the nostalgia. Right. The Vader moments, cool. Love Vader moments. Happy to see Hayden Christensen back, but ultimately, like the story is just not really like doing it for me. So it's average.
I agree with you 100%. That's where I'm at too. What were you saying there?
And I was just thinking, because I was seeing a scene in the back. Do you ever notice that like when Star Wars gives you like one type of kind of like gruesome, like I guess killing or like some type of hand chopping off scene, they love to repeat that like a lot, because they did the hand chopping scene, but then like when Reva like stabs through the Inquisitor, or the Grand Inquisitor, and then that's how she gets taken out. And I'm just like, okay, we obviously know that people can't die from a stab, so she's probably still alive.
Oh my gosh! So
right?
Yes, dude, I was just about to say that. Like, do people not die from lightsabers anymore? Because when Obi-Wan stabs through stormtroopers, they die instantly. But Grand Inquisitor, he can't die from it. Reva, she's still breathing.
When Darth Maul got stabbed freaking Qui-Gon, that dude died, bro.
He got cut in half. Dude.
No, Darth Maul, didn't he stab Qui-Gon through the stomach? I guess he fell off. Did he fall off something? No, he was good.
It was both. No, he fell off.
Qui-Gon fell down the
after he got stabbed. So
I don't remember.
No, he didn't fall off.
Yeah, only Darth Maul did.
Obi-Wan ended up going over to him and holding him, and he's
like,
promise me you'll look after the boy.
You're right. What is the level of medicine in this universe? You can either survive these things with incredible technology and or you just die instantly. I don't get it, dude.
I'll say it again. I think this next episode, because they showed this flashback, I think that they're gonna end it with showing some stuff with Luke. They're gonna have this Qui-Gon Jinn cameo because they've teased it a few times, and he's gonna tell Obi-Wan like, pretty much, you still have to have hope for the Jedi, whatever. And him and Vader are gonna get into it. Vader's gonna be cocky and arrogant like he is in every fight that he is, and like we saw in the flashback, Obi-Wan's still gonna find a way to disarm him. He's gonna refuse to kill him. How they tie that into where we find the characters in A New Hope, I don't know, but I just have a very strong feeling that's what we're going to see in episode 6.
The thing, this last episode got to be an hour for them to save it. I feel like.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines in A New Hope is when Obi-Wan and Vader meet up again, and like Vader says like, when we last met, I was but the student or whatever, and now I'm but a master. He's like, and then Obi-Wan is like, you're nothing but a master of darkness, Darth, or something like that. And I thought that was such a cool line when I was a kid. And I feel like this episode kind of is hinting on that line, because they're showing the training and like even now, like Obi-Wan escapes him constantly and like one-ups him and stuff, and I think he's like, hey, look, I'm still you're like, as we last met, and I think Obi-Wan gets away, like I was but the learner or whatever, I was but the learner, but now I am the master. I think like the show kind of is playing into that, which is kind of cool for me, but I don't know. It's just
I think that's why
execution.
I think that gives reasoning to what I expect to see in episode 6, because if you have that whole line in A New Hope that you're referring to, this whole series so far, we've seen Vader be a complete badass, and he's already taken care of Obi-Wan once. If we see Obi-Wan get the best of him in episode 6 but refuse to kill him, that gives reasoning to the line in A New Hope where he says, "I was just a learner." And
Yeah, it does.
because
But I feel like
ultimately will still get the best of him.
That's the problem
with
with
angst and his anger.
That's the problem with the writing in this show. They picked out like certain lines and reverse engineer scenes. It seems like, and like to write a whole show around the lines instead of like literally thinking it through. Again, more pre-production in the writing, or a different writer, or like revisions, and like just thinking about what the story should have been is probably where it's at. But I guess we've spoken long enough on the show. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to point out? Anything you did like more that you want to say?
Just, well, I mean, just a thought I had, like I told you, Fandom. I just feel like, what's the director's name? Deborah Chow.
Deborah Chow.
Deborah Chow. I feel like she's like a Star Wars fan and like wanted all these like kind of cool scenes to be in there, and just like, all right, we're just gonna put this shit in there, but it doesn't really make sense to like tie these things together. But
to be fair to the director, though, like sometimes you don't get to choose what's in. Like I'm pretty sure the bigger Disney company decides what's in there, and then they're like, hey, do you want to direct it? And, you're not going to turn down something like this. But I don't know if she gets final say. I'm pretty sure she gets a big say. I'm not trying to put it all on her. I think you work with what you have, and I think they just didn't have enough time. I know we think it's been like 4 years of development, but I don't think it was 4 years of development. I think they started this development pretty recently, and it kind of shows. I know the show's been in the works for a while, but I don't think they really. I just see so many shows that are coming out and being developed. I don't think they started this 4 years ago. This doesn't seem like 4 years of development and thinking it through, and it just seems like
at least COVID put a pause onto it.
Yeah, or something. But Ty, I wanted to give you some final thoughts or anything you liked.
Like I said, I think this was better than what we've seen in recent episodes. I think this one was probably the best one so far, in my opinion. I do still have little issues with it, but I'm trying to be optimistic with it. Interested to see how they tie everything up in this next episode.
Yeah,
I'm really hoping they don't disappoint, but like I said, so far it's just kind of a average show for me. Like I had some really high expectations. I've kind of pulled back on that a little bit.
Me too.
Recently, but
me too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just give me like, I think all I really want to see the next episode is if they give me a Qui-Gon cameo, and then
a meaningful one,
have like a really like not like a 30-second, 1 minute screen time long battle between Vader and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Like, give me something good. Give me like a cool scenery for it.
Yeah, because Reva should not have a better fight with Vader than freaking Obi-Wan does. Yeah. I'm sorry, like no way. You don't end the show with that. You don't. Reva has a better fight than a freaking Obi-Wan. No, unacceptable. You better give them a better fight.
It's like they're giving everybody great scenes, but Obi-Wan.
Literally.
And it's this show. It's like what?
That's what I'm saying. Is it Leia and friends, or is it Obi?
Leia and them. Yeah.
Leia and them.
No, but one thing I did. Okay, look. I think I just like villains. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I was, as much as I don't like.
Because you're evil. Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit. But as much as I don't like, like having people like mysteriously, unspokenly like survive for some reason that they don't explain, but it's like, oh, I've been alive this whole time. I still like the Grand Inquisitor. I think he's a good character, right? Because
he looks cool.
I love his lines. I love his like his dialogue, because like he's all about like I feel like he has like the same kind of mind that Sidious would have, right? Just because like he's very like he knows how to plot.
Speaking of, they should have had Sidious in the show. I don't know where he's at, but they should have had him in there.
I mean, I kind of like the Vader on his own, like kind of like mission. I kind of like his like this is his.
I mean, if
thing.
you're bringing people out the woodwork, I mean, might as well have like Sidious. Like, what the hell's going on? What the?
You got Ice Cube's son in this damn show. You got the chick from Game of Thrones. You got freaking what's it? The one comedian that they constantly show that's not really a Jedi, but
oh
acts
yeah, I forget his
all
name.
these damn people getting introduced into this show,
And he's clearly willing to work, like come back to Star Wars as far as like the last Star Wars movie goes. It's, you know, it's like, hey, why not as well have him in here? He would have. I don't know. It could have been about so many other things, I think, but. Overall, the one thing that could save the show is if they bring that character from Force Unleashed out. That'd been cool.
Well, I don't think he's that.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
He is a dope character, but no, just to finish my thought, bro. Like I think he was dope. Like even though we don't know why he's still alive, but like he's still plotting. He's like using their people's downfalls against them. It's like, oh, you wanted to be like what he was saying to Reva. I forgot exactly what he said, but he was using her rage against like her like as a tool, just like how he was using the Jedi's kindness as a tool. Like I just really like his plot. I like that character, but they could have done it better. They definitely could
have. Overall, hopefully the next episode is good. Hopefully the next episode is the episode that just makes us like, that whole show was worth it. You know what I mean? I'm optimistic.
Whole show was fire.
It was worth it. I'm optimistic.
I think you've given up on it, to be honest. I think you've given up on it.
I can't call something that hits 2 out of 5 times good. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I'm objective like that. Like, I can't because just like Utah, like all the fan moments or like all the fan pleasing moments, oh man, it gets me. And then it just like, but if you give me a high and then you hit me with a low, it's a worse low than would have been if it would have just been like nothing the whole time. That's just how I am with things. You know what I mean?
I respect it. Yeah. I respect it. I understand.
And it's coming from love, man. I love Star Wars. I really do. But you know, it just want as my favorite character. It just hurts to not get something better than this. Is all I'm saying. But is it like the worst show I've ever seen? No, it isn't. A lot of things are good about it, like the special effect. Like again, a lot of like visuals are good. A lot of like acting is good. I like it. I still
say
technically
the first
like
three
it.
The first 3 episodes of Book of Boba Fett were worse than this show.
Oh
yeah,
so slow.
It was a snore fest to me. Boba Fett was a snore fest.
Yeah. Luke and the Mandalorian in like. Snorefest.
Dude. Snorefest.
Right.
Yeah.
All the stuff that didn't have to do with Boba Fett. That's when it got better.
Good point. Because I would rather watch this than Boba Fett. But I think Mandalorian's better. And what's the next one coming out? Ahsoka.
Ahsoka might be fire. Yeah. I think that might be.
It could be. But yeah. Okay. So that was just. Oh, do you have anything else?
Nah, I was just gonna say, can we all agree that the best episodes, to me at least, is the first and second episode? So far, I agree with that. I agree with the premieres are really good, but I think
the premiere is good, but I think this one was the best one, to be honest.
I consider the first 2 like one episode, to be honest, but this one had the best fights, which I can see both, to be honest. I can see both sides. It's definitely the first 2 or this one. So
definitely not the fourth or third.
Yeah,
definitely not those. This one has better scenes. The first and second episodes made me actually like, when I was done with the episodes, I was like, this is gonna be a great show. I had nothing to like really, besides the Leia run and all that. I had nothing really bad to say about it.
Yeah, but that's a good point.
I just felt like plot holes, but there was good scenes in this one, definitely. Like, you know, the flashbacks and the fights and stuff. But yeah, that's why I said what I said. But
that's not good. Well, I will. Hopefully we get a fire episode 6 and we can just go in on how good it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, and I'm still curious to see if we get another season of this.
I don't think we will.
Or maybe it's like the reception. Really it depends on the reception, maybe. Or I don't know. We'll I doubt it too, though. To be honest, I would love to. I'm just really sad that this might be the last time ever we get Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan, and I'm just really sad about that. I don't know. Hopefully. It's a great send off, but I just want him to be Obi-Wan in some fashion in the future. But we'll see you in episode 6, guys.
Episode 6, baby.
Episode 6.
I kind of want an Anakin series.